All right, we'll give it a second. Wait for that green light to kick on. And it looks like we're good. We're up and running. So good morning, everybody. Jeremy Bernansky here with Bernansky's Vlog. We are live. It's 10 a.m. It's Monday morning. That means it's time for another episode right here of Bernansky's Vlog, where we talk movie news, movie reviews, and a little bit more. Before we get started, we got a lot to talk about today, but before we get started, we're going to give everybody just a second to hop in to this week's brand new live episode. So we'll go ahead and roll the intro, and then we will be right back to talk movie news, movie reviews, and a little bit more. So stay tuned. Be right back. All right, we're back. Good morning, everybody. I'm Jeremy Bernansky. This is Bernansky's Vlog, live right now on YouTube, where every week, every Monday, we talk movie news, movie reviews, and a little bit more. This week, we've got a lot to talk about. But before we jump into that, let me go ahead and just throw out some of the commercials here real quick. So, starting off, if you have not yet clicked subscribe, go ahead and click that subscribe button, because as I just said, every Monday at 10 a.m. right here on YouTube, we do a brand new live episode. So you're not going to want to miss that. So click the subscribe button, hit the bell so you know to get the notifications when we go live. Also, you'll get the notifications when other content drops on the channel. That way you won't miss anything and you'll be up to date with all of what's happening here on YouTube. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Stardust. Stardust is an app that you can download from the App Store, and that's where I do all my movie trailer reviews. I got over 100 up there right now, so you're going to want to check that out. Lots of content. Also, if at any point during the show you enjoy any content, go ahead and give me the thumbs up, because the thumbs up helps people who like movie-related shows find this movie-related show right here on YouTube. And let's go ahead now and get right into this week's episode. Like I said, we have got a lot to talk about. We've got some news stories that we're going to take a look at. We're going to take a look at the weekend box office, 2 movie reviews. That's right. We went out and saw Overboard and Tully. So stay tuned later in the show. I'm going to have those reviews for you guys. Then we'll come back and we'll take a look at what's arriving in theaters this week, what's arriving in DVD and Blu-ray for your home theater this week, and finally, my personal favorite segment, Certified Rad. So let's go ahead now and jump into the news segment and take a look at the weekend box office. As I just told you, I saw Tully and Overboard, but let's take a look at the weekend box office and see what you guys were out watching at the movies. All right, so if you expand the description box below of this video, you'll get all of the links. So as we go through the news stories and as we go through the box office, you'll be able to follow along there. So go ahead and click that little arrow button, expand the description box, hit those links, and we'll get started. This weekend, we had a lot of money coming in for Avengers Infinity War again. Not surprising, but let's take a look at the top 5 for the weekend box office. Coming in at number 5, we had Rampage at $4,620,000. Number 4 is I Feel Pretty at $4,900,000. Number 3 is A Quiet Place at $7,600,000. Number 2, Overboard with $14,750,000. And number 1, Avengers Infinity War with $474,000. My. All right, so let's take a look kind of at this top 5, because it's a little spread out. It's a little bit for everybody. Again, as we continue seeing, which is super awesome, a little something for everybody, right? So you have the big spectacle of Marvel Infinity War. Then you've got the comedy, the rom-com of Overboard. You've got the horror film of Quiet Place. Well, not really horror, more sci-fi thriller. But you've got A Quiet Place, and then the comedy I Feel Pretty, and then Rampage, again, another spectacle film, with monsters and destruction in Chicago. Similar to what happened with the Transformers. Robots and monsters seem to like destroying downtown Chicago. So is there any really big surprises in the top 5? In all honesty, Overboard is a surprise to me. As you will hear later in the show with my review of Overboard, this film being in the number 2 I mean, if it wasn't for Infinity War, this would have taken the top spot, and that's surprising after seeing the film to see that there's that much support for this movie. I'll be curious to see kind of where it hits next week. This could just be a really strong opening weekend. The movie itself, I did not get wowed by this movie. Again, you'll hear my full review later in the show, but yeah, definitely did not get wowed by this film. It's kind of all over the place. You could tell what they were going for. They just seemed to have difficulty focusing on what they wanted to achieve with the story. So seeing that it is in number 2 spot right now, very surprising to me. I would have preferred to see Tully. Tully, I think, is a much better film in general. Charlize Theron steps up to the plate in a big way in this movie. Really enjoyed Tully. And again, you'll hear why later in the show. But yeah, that came in at number 6. So, I mean, I would have liked to seen Tully bump up into the number 5. And I'm not going to hate on Overboard, because if the people went out and enjoyed it, that's great. It knew who its audience was. It hit the target audience that it was going for. For me personally, I just was not wowed by this film at all. But A Quiet Place, still in the top 5. Super happy about that. If you haven't seen A Quiet Place yet, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Get out to the theater and check this film out. It's really good. I walked in going, okay, this looks like a pretty cool concept for a horror movie. I walked out of the theater going, wow, this is actually more of a sci-fi thriller than a horror. It just really surprised me. There is a lot of heart and a lot of emotion in this movie. Great stuff. Get off your couch this weekend and go see Quiet Place if you have not. I Feel Pretty, still haven't seen that one yet. It's still in the top 5. That's great. Amy Schumer, like I said, she's a big name, right? She's a big name star, so not surprising to see that she's still putting butts in the seats for her movies. And Rampage, again, can The Rock do any wrong? I don't know. I wasn't wowed by Rampage. It's a spectacle film, right? You're watching it to see what monsters destroy Chicago looks like. It delivers on that. But the movie itself, kind of meh. I would recommend, if you're going to watch a newer Rock movie, I would recommend you guys just check out Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. Still just a fun, it's well written, right? The story makes sense. Definitely check out Jumanji if you're going to watch a modern Rock movie. If you want to go old school, I still think The Rundown is one of his best. That was Sean William Scott. Love it. So fun. And Christopher Walken. It's just so good. So yeah, so there's my recommendations for Rock films. If you want to watch a Rock movie and you don't want to go see Rampage, check out Jumanji or The Rundown. Both fun flicks, and similar kind of in tone, because it's basically the jungle, but still good. All right, so looking at the rest of the top 10, we've got Tully coming at number 6, Black Panther at number 7, Truth or Dare at number 8, Super Troopers 2 holding in strong at number 9, and then brand new Bad Samaritan comes in at number 10. So pretty interesting bottom rankings for the top 10, right? Tully, as I just said, really good movie. Really, really good movie. You'll hear why later in the show, but yeah, really happy that's in the top 10. Black Panther, no surprise that it's in the top 10. Marvel is going to have a big month. Marvel is going to have a big month this month with what they did with Black Panther, with Avengers Infinity War, and also Solo, a Star Wars story. Disney, the Mouse House, is going to be looking fat pockets this month with all the money they're going to make from movies. Truth or Dare, I am surprised that's still holding on in the top 10. Like I said, I haven't really seen great reception for this movie, so I really don't know who keeps going back to the theater to see this film, but obviously people are. Super Troopers 2, hey, to all of the fans out there of this franchise like myself, thank you for supporting this goofy comedy. It is kind of niche. It's a niche comedy, right? It's kind of that underground feel, but still mainstream. It's goofy fun. Love it. So super happy to see Super Troopers 2 still in the top 10. Bad Samaritan, this film actually, it has potential, right? The trailers look like it could be kind of cool, but the trailers also make it look like it could not be cool at all, right? It could be like a super B movie, or it could actually be surprisingly good. I don't know. I got to check the cinema score on this one and kind of see like what everybody ranked it that saw it, and then make my decision on if I'm actually going to get out and use my movie pass to see this film. But it did look interesting. I'm still not sold on it, but we'll see. We'll see. But jumping back to Avengers Infinity War real quick before we move on to some news stories. Let's see here. In the second week, obviously, number one, opening weekend, all time, both domestic and worldwide. We still have China. It's coming up, so it's going to have an even bigger opening. It's really going to spread the gap out even further as far as opening weekend goes, as far as domestic and worldwide goes, once it hits China. But looking at this, it's just behind Star Wars The Force Awakens in its second weekend, or just in front of Black Panther, well behind Star Wars The Force Awakens. In its second week, Star Wars The Force Awakens made 149, Avengers Infinity War 112 plus, and Black Panther 111 plus. So the big difference I see between Avengers Infinity War and Star Wars is Star Wars was released kind of when school is getting out, right? It's December. Kids are getting out of school. They're getting out of high school, junior high, you know, and then college. All of these kids are going to be done with school for a while. And if they're not working, what are they doing? They're hanging out. They're going to movies. Families are coming together because it's the holiday season. So when families come together, what are they going to do if they're not doing Christmas holiday stuff? They might go to the movie, right? So that was a big push for Star Wars The Force Awakens, to have that holiday time where all of the people are out of school, they're getting off of their jobs, they're taking holiday vacation, families coming together. So Star Wars The Force Awakens not only had the brand name of Star Wars and the excitement behind it, but it also had time where people could go to the movies and check this out because they didn't have to worry about work, they didn't have to worry about finals. They were just, we're done, let's have a holiday, let's enjoy it. So it really had that going for it, whereas Avengers Infinity War did not. In the United States here, our next holiday isn't until the end of the month for Memorial Day. So we have a whole month basically where Avengers Infinity War doesn't really have like a 3-day weekend that they can really capitalize on it. And it's still making buku bucks. So, hey, we'll see what happens with Avengers Infinity War. It's on a steady climb right now to hit 2 billion in record time. It already hit 1 billion in record time. So again, hats off to Kevin Feige and team over at Marvel Studios for an incredible job with this entire universe in 10 years, but most importantly, bringing together 10 years of storytelling in this film and really doing such a great job that us as fans are like, we're going again. I've seen it 3 times. I want to get back out and see it a 4th time. We'll have to wait and see, but it's a really good movie. It ends with a surprising little twist. And I was really happy with just the overall presentation of everything in this movie. A couple weak spots here and there as far as characters are concerned, but that wasn't weak enough to dissuade me from encouraging people to get out to see this film if you haven't already. And if you have, get out there and throw in the comment section or on the comment board how many times you've seen it. Again, my count, 3. So can you beat 3? Let me know in the comments section. All right, so we're going to move into the first news story today. But if you've been following down below, you have seen that we have the ticker tape is running with all of the honorable mentions. So go ahead and keep your eyes peeled on that. We've got some stories in there that are kind of cute, inspiring as well. So check it out, especially if you're a Star Wars fan or if you're a Deadpool 2 fan. There's a really funny story in the honorable mentions regarding Deadpool 2. So you're going to want to check that out once it tick right by. So, all right, first story is coming to us from the Hollywood Reporter, and this is coming to us out of the Cannes Film Festival, and that is Ralph Fiennes and Rebecca Hall are tapped for this new movie called The Forgiven, based off of a book, and they are going to be joining Mark Strong, and also, I'm going to butcher this name so bad, so bear with me, people. This is going to get weird. Saeed Taghmaoui. That's the best I can do on that one. So my apologies if I butchered that, but that's the best I can do. And this is based on the book The Forgiven, and it was made in 2012. Unfamiliar with this book, so I had to do some research. So really quick, let me just kind of give you what I found online on the New York Times. They had a review of the book. So basically what it is a wealthy British couple is on their way to a lavish weekend party in the Moroccan desert, and they accidentally run over and kill a young man who is apparently late at night trying to sell fossils by the roadside. They put the body in his car and, to their horror, take it along to the party. The police arrive, and soon enough afterwards, the victim's impoverished father arrives as well. So, wow, that is a lot to take in. So you've got this kind of like, I Know What You Did Last Summer vibe, but like higher quality, right? Because these actors are super talented. Ralph Fiennes, super talented. Rebecca Hall, super talented. Mark Strong. Again, like these are big names that have really great acting presence and skills and abilities. When they bring these characters to life, they really bring these characters to life. So you take this kind of lavish lifestyle party, right, in the Moroccan desert. You got a dead body in the trunk of a car. A cop shows up. The father shows up. The party's still going on. Everything is going wild. There's fireworks, according to the article in the New York Times. Like, this is a big spectacle, like Great Gatsby style party. And there's this crazy like murder mystery thing happening as like the party is like moving around and moving and grooving, and everybody is like completely unaware that there's a dead person out in the parking lot. Like, this sounds bananas. I can't wait for more. Like, this is, especially with this cast, like if it didn't have this cast, I don't know that I would be as excited, because with this cast, there is like a level, as I just said, these actors bring the sauce. And so I'm based on that alone, I'm there, I'm ready for this story. So what else could happen? I don't know. Who else are they going to bring on board? I don't know. But just based on this alone right now, I am excited to see more from this film and to see what happens. But like I said, if it wasn't for this cast, I might dismiss this off as like, well, this could be good. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But right now I'm like, this definitely feels good. This is a strong cast. They really bring the sauce. I can't wait to see more. So there it is. Let me know what you think about The Forgiven. Have you read the book? Like I said, it was released in 2012. If you did, what did you think about the book? Let us know in the comments below. All right, we are going to move into the next story here. This story, I didn't even believe at first when it first hit the news. I was like, is this like something that like The Onion posted? It is not. This is super legit. It put a big smile on my face, a big dumb smile like you're seeing right now. I was like, what? This is good. Sylvester Stallone, and this is coming to us from Empire Online. Sylvester Stallone is back for another Rambo movie. Boom. What? Yes, Rambo 5, people. He's back, and he's going to be Rambo. So in the article, again, you can check it out as we're going through here. But it takes place... it says this time Rambo is at a ranch in Arizona battling PTSD and working casual jobs, as Rambo would do in his retirement in the twilight of his life. But then his longtime friend and estate manager, Maria, asks for his help when her granddaughter goes missing while partying in Mexico. Rambo, Maria, and a journalist whose half-sister is also missing in action travel to the country, uncovering a sex trafficking ring and needing the old warrior's skills to take down a crime lord. No director announced yet. Wow. Can we just take a minute to appreciate that we are going to get Rambo running around just taking out garbagey people? Like, this is... I can't wait for more on this, especially to see who's going to direct it, because that will give us an idea of what type of feel we can like anticipate as far as action goes. Because right, not every action director has the same style, right? A Michael Bay action film is very different than a Guy Ritchie style action film, right? So you can see, and especially John Woo, like you can see these different types of directors and how they direct action films. And so we have to wait to see kind of who's going to step up to the plate and be like, okay, I like the concept and I like the idea of this new Rambo film. Here is what I'm looking at. Here's my vision for how we can make this work. Is it going to be something gritty? Is it going to look similar to like what Sicario and Sicario 2 look like in the trailers and in the movie? We don't know. We have to wait and see. But if they get the right director, my just general pleasure of hearing that there's going to be another Rambo movie is going to escalate up to something even higher. So I was like, this is fantastic. This is bananas. I love it. Another Rambo movie where he's taking on cartels. I am so on board. So on board. Give it to me right now. Cannot wait. And so if you have a really great director, as I said, who does really great gritty action sequences, boom, cash the check. Let's just go. Let's get this film going. I can't wait to see it in theaters. Let me know, is John Rambo a story that needs to be redone? We need a brand new Rambo coming in. Should we just retire the hero? Is Sylvester Stallone too old to keep playing Rambo? Throw your thoughts in the comments section below and let us know. All right, next up, this story is coming to us from Variety and Benedict Cumberbatch. That's right. Doctor Strange, Sherlock Holmes, not Kang. That's Marvel. Khan from Star Trek, Benedict Cumberbatch is coming back to play a Cold War spy in the thriller Iron Bark. So according to Variety here, the movie is based on a true story of Greville Wynn, who is going to be played by Cumberbatch. And he is a British businessman who helped the CIA penetrate Soviet nuclear programs during the Cold War. Him and his Russian source provide crucial intelligence that ended the Cuban Missile Crisis. So again, we see him kind of stepping back into a war drama, a period piece film, where he is going to try and be deciphering things and trying to figure out what's going on. I really like the sound of this. You put Benedict Cumberbatch in a film, you have my interest already, because I really think he's a super talented actor. And I like kind of where he goes with characters, especially in period piece films. He really seems to absorb himself into the roles and into those time periods. And again, he's super talented. So, you know, just like the other actors that we talked about in the previous story, Benedict also brings the sauce. So super happy to see that he's coming on board to do another kind of period piece spy war movie. I think it could be really good. It says that Dominic Cook is going to direct and executive produce with Cumberbatch and Tom O'Connor, and it's based on a script by O'Connor. So it looks like he's really investing himself in this film if he's also going to try and help executive produce this thing. So it seems almost like it might be a little bit of a passion project for him, or it just might be him venturing more into the producer role. Since he's already got some films and everything else under his belt, we'll have to wait and see as far as what his career looks like, where his trajectory is headed. But I'm excited. I can't wait for more from this story. And I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what happens and who else comes on board to join him for this piece. Because again, Cuban Missile Crisis, Cold War, that's high drama. That's high stress level. That there was no playing around as far as the United States and everybody else was concerned during this time period. This was high stress, high drama. So curious to see kind of what comes from that. Looks like it could be really good. It's got a nice cast with Cumberbatch, so we'll have to see who else joins him to really flesh that out. But let me know in the comments what you think about this story. All right, we are going to go ahead and move now into the next segment, which is going to be our movie reviews. So we're going to move into Overboard and Tully. Now, if you haven't seen these films, that's okay. I don't really get into spoilers or anything like that. If you haven't seen Tully, I would recommend not watching the review, though, because even though I don't give spoilers away, this movie is so surprisingly good. It's just like Infinity War. You need to go in without any knowledge about it except what you've seen in the trailers, and boom, just enjoy the ride. But if you have seen it, check this review out. If you don't care about spoilers or anything like that, you can check the review out. You're adults, do what you want. You know what I mean? Here we go. Let's jump into these movie reviews right now, and then I will be right back with you, and we will cover what's arriving in theaters this week, what's arriving on DVD and Blu-ray, and my personal favorite segment, Certified Rad. So here we go with this week's movie reviews. Again, Overboard and Tully. Be right back with you. A single mother who is working multiple jobs, going to school, trying to raise her family, meets a single, self-centered, wealthy man whose biggest concern in life is whether or not his staff will be available when he calls them. Fate brings these two back together after a very complicated and difficult first meeting. And then from there, the hijinks ensue. So, does Overboard deliver a fun and lighthearted romantic comedy or rom-com that will leave the theater goers smiling? Or is this film as forgettable as other films that we've already forgotten about? Which ones? I don't know. I've already forgotten them. Roll that intro. Surprisingly, this film over-delivers on what's promised in the trailers. Yes, this film is at its core about two strangers who are trying to make a marriage work, but it's also not. First, we have Kate, played by Anna Faris, who is a struggling single mother who's working multiple jobs, going to school, trying to make sure her daughters are taken care of. All of this aside, she still turns out to be a pretty terrible person. Don't worry, we'll get to that in a minute. Next, we have Leonardo, played by Eugenia Derbez, and he is a completely self-centered, wealthy individual who, by the end of the film, kind of breaks free of that lifestyle. Then we have all of the side characters that have important roles in this film. Her family, her mother, her kids, her co-workers and friends. Then we have his family, the crew that maintains his yacht. There is a lot going on in this movie. However, as I just said, there's a lot that's crammed into the story, which actually works to the detriment of the film as a whole. Since there are multiple stories running at the same time throughout this film, dealing with his family, with his relationships, her family and her relationships, the focus of the story continuously shifts, which was a problem for me. There's an entire subplot that runs through this film dealing with his family. As we find out, his father is dying, he's on his deathbed, he's sick, and his daughters are trying to figure out who's going to take over the business. The father says that it should be his son, even though his son is kind of living the life of luxury and is very much just kind of like a playboy who really doesn't take responsibility seriously. He's got a daughter who helps him run his business, who feels she should take over the company, and then he has another daughter who's basically just the heart of the family. However, the majority of time this subplot takes up on screen felt completely unnecessary, because it doesn't really do much to drive the main plot forward of two strangers meeting and falling in love. So yes, while there is a lot in this second story that could have made its own film, such as, family going behind each other's back, lying, political maneuvering, backstabbing, and then there's also some humor with these family members as well, that's all kind of secondary and it should have just been removed from this film. And again, it might work on its own in its own separate film, but for this one in particular, I thought it was a distraction that pulled away again from the main focus, which should be these two characters who were strangers meeting and falling in love. For a lighthearted rom-com, this film is actually surprisingly dark. When you consider the fact that he falls off of his boat and gets amnesia, his sister finds him and then says that's not her brother and leaves him, and then fakes his death to try and take over the family business, that's pretty dark. Now add a complete stranger who already is upset with him and convinces him while he's in this state of amnesia that they're married, they have children, and he works construction. But that's not all. She also convinces him that he has to sleep out in the shed on a little cot, because that was part of the plan that he and his sponsor came up with if he ever relapsed back into alcoholism. Yes, she also convinces him that he's a recovering alcoholic. So in general, she's a pretty terrible person. Her character seems to, for the most part throughout the film, have zero to minimal regard for what will happen if or when his memory actually does come back. What will be the ramifications of all of this deception? And as it would play out, his memory does come back, and it comes back very abruptly. Now, I'm not sure if it was meant to be comedic, but it literally happened so quickly right at the end of the film that I did laugh out loud because it was ridiculous. Overboard is playing at your local movie theater right now, and I am going to recommend that you skip seeing this film on the big screen. At best, this is just an okay movie that I think you might enjoy once it's available on your preferred streaming service, or you can rent it at a Redbox. As I stated, this film just does too much and has a difficult time trying to stay focused on the point of the film, which is two strangers meeting and falling in love. Again, even though one of these strangers is a very terrible person. Have I mentioned that she also tells him that the kids look different and don't look like him because he's impotent, and they had to go use other means to actually get her preggers. So it's literally just one terrible lie on top of another that would make any normal man just walk away from the situation and leave her entirely. Love covers a multitude of sins, and this film really puts that belief to test. Now, I did find some of the interactions between the characters working with Leonardo very charming and believable, and in fact, that was probably the highlight of the movie for me. In this film, there are characters who watch a Spanish soap opera on TV, and this film actually does a nice job of kind of tying that back into the film over and over again, all the way to the ending. But even that is not enough to save this film from being a predictable, poorly focused story about two strangers meeting and falling in love and overcoming lots of obstacles. And because of that, it's getting 0 high fives from this guy. Overboard is playing at your local movie theater right now. Go see Avengers: Infinity War. The story of an individual's life can be one of many twists and turns, and often life doesn't slow down enough to allow adequate time to process all of those changes. So then, how do we process all of those changes and all of these feelings that we're experiencing without being a burden to those we care for? In this particular case, how does a family, but more importantly, one mother? Let's go ahead and talk about Tully in this review. Charlize Theron is back in magnificent form, playing the character of Marlo, who is a mother, a wife, and a very patient sister. Marlo has two children that she loves. One is just your average kid, while the other has a bit of autism. And both of these children lead very normal lives because of all of the love and devotion their parents have to family. However, as we see as the film progresses, having these two children and a newborn baby and a husband who maybe isn't as attentive to family as he should be, and the fact that she has now grown past 30 years old, this is all taking a noticeable toll on her. By the end of the film, we see that this story is actually about growing older as a woman and as a mother and a wife, and how at the same time it can be both beautiful and challenging. The struggle of maintaining that youthful excitement as you get older with kids who depend on you and a husband who also depends on you. The pacing of this film is a little bit slower, which allows us to explore life with Marlo and her family and her brother and his family. The relationship between Marlo and Tully, the night nanny, who's played by Mackenzie Davis, really takes us different places in the story than I was expecting. And the twist and surprising ending really made this film worthwhile for me personally, even with a slower tempo. The story and characterization are all done so well that all of the heartfelt moments did feel believable and emotional on screen. Tully is playing at your local movie theater right now, and if you enjoy human-centered dramatic films, then I am definitely recommending you check this out on the big screen. This film explores the concept that you must have a breakdown before you can have a breakthrough, and it does so beautifully. The ending of this film is also very touching, and it really does a great job of showing how in a marriage, what one person goes through, so does the other, and with a lot of love, you're both gonna come out of it and you're going to be better going forward. Again, the pacing for this movie is a little bit slower, but it's written incredibly well, and all of the actors in this movie perform with incredible heart. And because of that, it's getting both high fives from this guy. Tully is playing at your local movie theater right now. Check it out. All right, we are back. Hope you guys enjoyed those two reviews of Overboard and Tully. As you heard, those were my thoughts. So if you saw those movies and you have your own thoughts, please, as always, be encouraged to throw your thoughts in the comments section below and let us know what you thought about those films after your viewing. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move now into this last segment where we're going to take a look at what movies are arriving in theaters, what's arriving on DVD and Blu-ray, and finally, again, my personal favorite segment, Certified Rad. So coming up in theaters this week, we are looking at Terminal, Dark Crimes, Life of the Party, and Breaking In. So those are what's hitting theaters this weekend. Now, out of these films, I'm going to be honest, the one I am actually most excited for is going to be Terminal. Margot Robbie again, all of the actors we've been talking about today, they all bring it. They have a game every single time. They commit to their roles. Doesn't matter what they're playing. You can bank on their talent. And Margot Robbie is the same thing. And with her, look, I saw Neon Demon like 2 years ago. This was a super artsy, very artsy film that used a lot of symbolism. And holy moly, this was an artsy movie. This was like art house artsy. And I walked out of the theater. I was like, okay, cool. I know what they were going for. I get it. Wow, what a movie. You really have to like artsy movies to like Neon Demon. But Terminal kind of has that same look to a lot of the scenes. As far as like the neon and everything else is concerned, it looks like it's going to be very intriguing. So out of these four films, the one I'm most excited for is Terminal. Dark Crimes looks like it could be okay. Jim Carrey coming back to do a more mysterious kind of darker piece. We've seen him do these before, right? So is this going to be worthwhile? Is it going to be good for him to come back? The last thing I saw Jim Carrey in was Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. If you aren't watching that show, I definitely recommend you check Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee on Netflix. I believe it's on Netflix now. I think it switched over from Crackle to Netflix finally. So you should be able to watch that. So check that out. Really good. Jerry Seinfeld just takes time and hangs out with comedians. Super good. And that was the last thing that I saw Jim Carrey in, was his special that he did with Seinfeld and Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. So, I mean, Dark Crimes could be good. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It's an intriguing concept, but I don't know. Life of the Party. The first trailer actually did make me laugh out loud a couple times. I was not expecting to laugh. I like Melissa McCarthy. This movie looks like it's just going to be goofy fun. If I find myself at the theaters watching this movie, it will be because I just wanted a movie that was goofy fun. And then breaking in, I was really enjoying this trailer until I think his Rihanna song started playing. And then I was like, what? Wait, I'm out. What happened? What happened? Whenever modern songs pop into movies like that, just suddenly, it kind of pulls me out right away. I had the same problem with the new trailer for Solo, A Star Wars Story. That guitar riff at the beginning. It's not a modern song, right? But it's just, it sounds modern. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? So, I mean, Breaking In could be good, right? Gabrielle Union, she's a very talented actress as well. So this could be a good film. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. The trailer up to the song, I was like, okay, this looks like it could be pretty good. And then the song hit and I was like, oh, is this going to be like a Lifetime movie? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But out of those films, the one I'm most excited for is Terminal. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's arriving on DVD and Blu-ray this week. We've got one film. There it is. 50 Shades Freed. Don't miss the climax, people. Don't miss it. 50 Shades Freed. There it is. I have not seen any of these films. I've not followed this film franchise at all. I know it makes money. I know it makes buku bucks. But yeah, this franchise is not for me. So I have not seen any of these movies. But if these films are your jam, then you're going to want to check these films out. So go ahead and hit this up now that it's going to be available on DVD and Blu-ray. And finally, let's go ahead and move into the last segment of the show. This is going to be the Certified Rad segment. As always, you guys never know what's going to drop, but I can guarantee whatever drops will most definitely be certified rad. So this actually is coming to us from the Hollywood Reporter. Now, I didn't find the initial article from Hollywood Reporter. The first thing I saw was on Twitter. It was just like a little headline. Somebody retweeted it, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I looked it up and found the article. It popped up with more information on more than just what I initially saw. So I was like, oh my gosh, it's more than just one thing. It's a couple things, and that's super rad. So we're going to talk about that right now. So whether you like her music or whether you're just like, whether you like her personality and her persona in front of the camera, as far as like what news stories and everything cover her actions and all of her dating life and stuff like that, it doesn't really matter because this story is not about any of that. This story is about how Taylor Swift has been reaching out and doing a really great job right here in Arizona, actually, oddly, with just connecting with her fans and everything else. So before her concert, she actually went to pay a surprise visit to a burn victim fan who wasn't going to be able to make the show. She went to the hospital, hung out with them. There were some photos taken. You can find those photos online. And then after that, she did her show, right? The whole show takes over, goes crazy. Fans love it. And then she stayed after the show for about 3 hours. She had a 2-hour performance. And then after that, she stayed for about 3 hours and she gave tickets to fans and then fed them pizza and just hung out with her fans and took photos and everything else like that. And like had like a little like powwow session, like just chilling right there with her fans. She basically threw a pizza party for her fans. That's crazy awesome. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, not only did she like go out of her way to go visit a fan in the hospital, a burn victim fan, which is certified rad by itself, but then she puts on this crazy performance for 2 hours and you're going to be exhausted. I don't care who you are. You put on a 2-hour performance in front of all those people, your adrenaline's up, you are running at full capacity. Then the show ends, right? And you just have a hard come down. You're just like, whew. You know, you start to level out a little bit, and usually you might want to take a nap, right? After that type of performance where you're running around, dancing, singing, adrenaline's high, and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, now we're on the come down. But she doesn't go to nap. She doesn't do any of that. She goes, all right, let's go. Let's keep this party going. Let's keep the momentum running. And when you can step outside of yourself like that and really just dive into the moment with the people who are supporting you, like your fans, and like just have that connection when you're at that superstar level that she is, you can guarantee that that is certified rad. So say what you will about anything previous to this moment, but this moment was definitely certified rad. So big shout out to Taylor Swift and her charitable giving with her time, right? Because that's what it was. It was charitable giving with her time to go visit fans at the hospital and then also to just take time just to have a pizza party and chill with her fans after her show. So great job there. All right, guys, and that pretty much wraps up this week's brand new episode of Bernansky's Vlog. Thank you guys so much for joining me here on YouTube for another brand new episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you did, please do give me that thumbs up because the thumbs up helps people who like movie-related shows find this movie-related show. right here on YouTube. Also, again, if you haven't, go ahead and click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new content once it drops on the channel, and click the bell so you get the notifications once that new content drops. All right, guys, I'm Jeremy Bernansky. This is Bernansky's Vlog. It's Monday morning. Thank you again so much for watching it. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. Hope you're able to get out to the theater and see some of the movies that we talked about today. Leave your thoughts about what we talked about in the comments section. I will see you next week. And as always, good night and good luck. Take care. Bye-bye.